So the College Football Playoff Subcommittee is discussing the possibility of playoff expansion. This is sports radio topic item 0, in many cases across the country. Even when they're not discussing playoff expansion, we want more games for the college football playoff. Are we buying this? I don't know why they would. Bill Hancock, the executive director, he said there will not be a new format this season or next season. The timetable is certainly an important detail, but it hasn't been determined yet. Their current agreement expires after the 2025 season. Here's why it's going to happen. There's too much money to be made from the television agreement not to expand.
It's the fact that it's floated out there tells me they're going to expand.
Yes.
So it's just how many teams are going to be in it to expand to. I do find it interesting, though, the timing of it, that they float this possible expansion of the playoffs right after the Super League announcement got floated and there was a huge blowback. So it makes me think, is this going to be a new PR strategy? Hey, let's get something out there with some stories. If there's this immediate backlash everywhere, there's not. But you see my point. Like you could easily float something, and then we think it's great, and people are going to love it, and then other people aren't. But Paul, there's always there's going to be people saying, "Well, we're using these student athletes again to make more money and put them at more risk for concussions by expanding the playoffs, and the rich get richer and all of this." Fans love it. Because it's more playoff games, it's more games that matter. It's probably less bowl games that don't matter.
Good, get rid of those bowl games.
So that's what fans want. And Hutton, but you hit the nail on the head. The reason it's going to happen is because of the money. It's the money. That's why.
I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that the bowl games that don't matter were down last year because of COVID anyway. I don't know that ratings were any good for these games. I think we discovered more than ever how irrelevant that they are. So strip some of those away. Let the good teams play a couple extra games. Look, we've gone over they're off campus too much. It's diving into their thing. How far are you going to extend that schedule, or how much you're going to play them earlier? That's all to be sorted out. I think you can play them earlier. You don't need this huge layoff between the end of the league championship seasons and the college football playoffs. And I quite frankly think you can get rid of the league championships. I'd have no problem with that unless you're officially calling them the first round of the playoffs, which I would have no problem with. Then eliminate teams.
Well, they're not getting rid of the SEC championship.
Right.
They make a ton of money.
And Big Ten, too.
All right, but then make that an elimination game.
Well, it is. But that's the beauty of college football, right? Sometimes it is an elimination game based on if a team's got one loss and you're looking at a bunch of teams that are undefeated, or you got 2 losses and you have an outside chance getting it, that is an elimination game if you lose it. Here's what I want with conference championships. Everyone does it. If you're in a conference, you have a championship game. There's no different rules. There's no leagues that don't have a championship, and some that do. And for the most part, most do now. They'll have some sort of conference championship game, so I'm fine with that. Here's something else I want added, and this is a little bit of the mix of the NFL and
then
college.
Then make it a Champions League playoff, so to speak.
Well, sort of, but if there's, for example, if there's a team with 3 losses that gets in on one side of a division, they beat an undefeated team, and they get lucky in the championship game, I don't want them in as the representative from that league in the playoff. I want a team with 1 loss, even if that 1 loss in the championship game. Anyway.
Don't lose.
Home playoff games. If it goes to 8, let's have an on-campus host of a game. I love the idea of playing for that home playoff game in the NFL. How cool would it be to see in the round of 8, let's say it goes from 4 to 8, in that round of 8, having Alabama host Washington in the first round, having LSU host Michigan, or whatever it may be, but having those on-campus college football playoff games like you see in FCS, I think it would be a really cool thing. And not just going to a neutral site.
But it takes away some of the lure of the games in terms of profitability, where you get people traveling to an event and a weekend in a city.
Well, and they're going to
where you have something to get cities to bid on, stadiums to bid on.
They're also going to scratch the back of their partners. Like this year, the semifinal games will be at the Cotton Bowl and the Orange Bowl. Well, some of these bowl games will be diminished at the top, I'm saying, because you're taking away that second-tier pool of players And I mean, before long, you end up with the
Weed Eater Bowl.
well, not only that, but like the teams for these big time bowl games that aren't in the rotation for the college football playoff end up with a game that's less impactful to them for the status of whatever they're paying for. That's why I think they would be included in the rotation.